story that the Lord told. And he said, "A certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me.' And so he divided to them his livelihood. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, journeyed to a far country, and there wasted his possessions with prodigal living." So this younger son says, "Father, give me all the money that is going to be mine. Give me my inheritance now." And then he goes off to a faraway city and he wastes all that money. And it says, when he had spent all, there arose a severe famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And then he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine, pigs. And he would gladly have filled his stomach with the pods that the swine ate, but no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father and will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' And he arose and came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight, and am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet, and bring the fatted calf here and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And they began to be merry. Now his older son was in the field. And as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, 'Your brother has come, and because he received him safe and sound, your father has killed the fatted calf.' But he, the older brother, was angry and would not go in. Therefore the father came out and pleaded with him. And so he answered and said to his father, 'Lo, these many years I have been serving you. I never transgressed your commandment at any time, and yet you never gave me a young goat that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this son of yours came, who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, you killed the fatted calf for him.' And he, the father, said to him, 'Son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should make merry and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found.' Amen." So this younger son took a whole big chunk of money his dad gave him, and he spent every bit of it on stuff he didn't need. He's called the prodigal son because he spent this money on prodigal living. And prodigal basically means like wild and crazy. He was having one big party and wasting his money. Sounds like a bad choice. Now, have any of you ever made a bad choice? Yeah, lots of hands. Now, when you made that choice that was maybe a bad choice, were you doing it because you thought, hey, I know, I want to be miserable? No. And this prodigal son, well, he thought, okay, so I'm going to go and have a great big party. It's going to be awesome. He thought he was going to be happier because of this, but what happened is he wasted his money, he ran out, he had no more, and then there was a famine. There was no food anywhere in the land. He desperately needed a job, and the only job he could get was taking care of pigs. And because the Jews considered pigs unclean, that was a terrible job. Like only the worst people would have that job. So you had to be kind of desperate to take a job looking after pigs. I have a picture of this prodigal son looking after his pigs. Apologies to those of you who are further away. You can see his face, or I hope you can. He does not look like he feels good about where he is. And it said that he would gladly have eaten the pig's food because he was so hungry, and they wouldn't even give him the pig food. He was lower than the pigs. And that whole time, he still had a father. He still had a family. He had a household. But he wouldn't go back, not for a long time. And why was that? Why wouldn't he have gone back as soon as he ran out of money? Or as soon as he realized what bad condition he was in? Maybe that question is more for the grown-ups. What feeling would get in the way of going back home? Shames, I saw someone say. Yeah, pride and shame. He didn't want to admit he'd made mistakes, and he didn't want his father and his family to see what a terrible place he'd come to. He didn't want to have to face them looking at him and being angry and saying, "Why did you waste my money?" He thought that when he went back home, that's the kind of question he was going to get asked. "Why did you do this? You're not worthy to be my son anymore because you've wasted my money." And so he only finally went back home when he thought, I don't have to ask to be my father's son. I just have to say, treat me like a servant. Because even my father's servants are doing better than I'm doing right now. And so he went back home, and his father said, "Yeah, all right, you can be my servant." Is that what he said? No, he ran to meet his son. As soon as he saw him, here he is, running with his arms spread open wide. Did he say anything to his son about, "Why did you waste my money? Why did you make these bad choices?" He didn't say any of that, did he? He just welcomed him home. He gave him nice clothes. He said, "Let's have a celebration." Now, who do you think that father represents? The Lord? Did I hear someone say that, or was it just the thought in my head? The Lord? The father, of course, represents the Lord. And he gave us the story to show, yeah, we can make bad choices and make ourselves kind of miserable sometimes. We can kind of feel like, yeah, all right, I'm in a low place, stuck with the pigs. But we're never so bad that the Lord's not going to let us come back. We're never so bad that the Lord's just going to be angry and want to punish us and say, "No more chances for you." Now, that older brother, he kind of thought that maybe his younger brother should have gotten punished. He came and he said, "Hey, why are you throwing this big party for my little brother when he did a lot of bad stuff? I've behaved well and you never gave me a party." And the Lord, well, the father, who's really the Lord, said, "We're not having this celebration because he was bad. We're having this celebration because he chose to come back. We're having this celebration because he chose to change." And that's what the Lord really cares about. And that's what makes the Lord most happy, is that we can always choose to say, that bad choice was not a good idea. I want to go back to the Lord. I want to try again. I want to do something different. When we make that choice, the Lord rejoices for us, just like that father rejoiced to welcome home his son. Amen.